Hi, my name's Trish. 11 years ago, my husband Greg was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. I went to every appointment with Greg. It was so important. He was often in a state of shock or worry, traumatised by what the news was. And when you're in that situation, you don't hear things clearly. So it was really, really important I was there as his support person. He was never by himself, and I think that was huge. And when I went to the appointments with Greg, my role was to support him, but actually more importantly was to listen and to take notes. The doctor would be talking to him about his symptoms and things like that, and I didn't really get involved in that, but it was just listening to what the doctor was saying, understanding what he was saying, and taking notes so that Greg and I could talk about it later. And often I'd go with questions that we would have worked out beforehand, and they were written down so that we didn't forget. For me, chemotherapy was really, really a positive day, even though for Greg it was hard going. For me, it felt like we were fighting that. We weren't going to let this cancer get on top of him. But I took him to the appointments because he couldn't drive with the drugs in his system, and stayed there with him, just getting him his lunch, and sometimes I let him sleep and I'd just walk around and talk to other people, but being there and supporting him was really important. Really figuring out what he could eat was really hard. I did a lot of reading. We didn't get a lot of support. Greg did see a dietitian, but it was actually really hard to transfer the advice into practical everyday living. So we just had to figure it out ourselves with reading. We had a lot of support with family and friends. They'd pop in with meals. I was kind of going by rote and possibly a bit emotional and traumatised as well. So you just get as much sleep as you can, take the good moments. Just keep positive. And sometimes that might feel like putting on an act, but for me, keeping positive in front of Greg helped him stay positive, but then that had to be real as well, because or else you can't keep on putting the act. But just keep positive. Have your friends and family around when you want them. Sometimes you're just too tired, you need to sleep. Try to take minutes, a little bit of time out for yourself. Go and have a coffee, whether it's a walk around the lake, or just take a little bit of time for yourself so that you are staying strong and keeping refreshed.